Oh, hey, we're live.
Hey, happy May.
Yeah, happy May.
This time we're doing it live.
Sure doesn't feel like May up here. May 1st, it snowed. Well, it did that like rain
Oh
snow
man,
thing that's like almost like a
slushy.
hail, but not hard enough to like do damage, just kind of get in the way. It sucked. It was
Gross.
so
Yeah,
bad.
that sucks
Yeah.
because we've had like, I don't know, our hottest week of the year so far. It's like 23. Right now it's still 18. Got the wind. I got the fan going. It's the first day of the year. I got the fan going.
Jeez.
So sucks for you, I guess.
Yeah, snow sucks. Although I hate heat too, so I wouldn't like where you're at either. I want somewhere in between. I want Portland, I
Okay.
guess. That's where I want.
A lot of rain. I like Portland a lot, but
I love the
Portland has a
rain.
lot of rain.
I love the
Okay.
rain. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
Um, No idea what that was out there. John's not here this week. He's Coliseum. He's doing a live stream thing any day now.
He's in a
Probably this weekend,
coliseum.
I guess.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. So he's doing that. Go watch that this weekend. I really don't know much about it.
I think this weekend. Yeah, yeah.
I would have to assume so.
Yeah.
Um. Okay, but before the show, I think we have to talk about Hundreds of Beavers.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sure.
I I thought this movie was amazing.
It is very interesting. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it very much myself. I thought it was
Wow.
like the thing is that it's not boring. I was interested in what was going to happen next, but I wouldn't say I had like a great time necessarily. I just thought I don't like
I
silly. I found out I don't like silly things.
Wow. Okay, this is a very silly movie.
Yeah,
I loved it. I had a great time. Just like they totally went for it. Like they knew the kind of comedy they were doing and they were just like, this is goofy. What if we
they
and then they
did.
just kept like kind of building on it. And it's like, well, here's a joke. What would be the next thing if we just continued down this weird thought process? Like,
Yeah. I think
did
maybe
you
if it
like
was
any of it?
shorter. Yeah. Yeah, I liked bits and pieces of it. I thought some of the gags were really fun. I
Okay.
think if it was a bit shorter, like I felt like at some point it was wasting my time or something. Like at some
Oh
point I was
wow.
just like, I'm kind of done with this. And like, I think the most annoying thing is the beaver stuff is great. And that's very late in the movie. Like the actual hundreds of beaver, the titular
Okay.
hundreds of beavers. But the thing that's fun is that the movie's a video game. Like that's all it is,
Sure.
which is great.
Sure. It's it's almost like this is how I want to recommend it, and this is an insane way to recommend something. Don't look up the trailer. Don't read anything about it. You just have to trust me and go watch it, which is hard because who's going to do that just face value and like pay some money to go watch this movie? It's no one's going to do
Sure.
that. But if somehow if somehow my opinion on a movie means something to you, I think you need to just go as blind as you can into this cuz you're never going to guess anything that's going to happen in this movie. It's
That's
so
very true.
wild.
There was not a point, even though like there were points where I was just like, I don't know if I'm actually enjoying this. I would ever say it was boring. I was very into seeing what the hell happened next because I had no idea.
So if without getting into spoilers, can you talk about some of the gags you did like?
Anytime with the paw and the girl or whatever were pretty great. I kind of like the running
Okay,
gag of he never hits his spittoon thing with his spit.
sure.
That was pretty
Yep.
good. Um,
Okay.
I think if you like cartoons, like Looney Tunes stuff, there's a lot in here that you'll probably enjoy because a lot of them are
Yes.
ripped from Looney Tunes.
This the whole thing is cartoon logic.
Yeah.
It is like, what if we did a live action Looney Tunes cartoon?
Yes, that's what it is.
That is basically what this thing is. Yes, absolutely.
Um, all of the animal suit stuff. I just because
Great.
the freaky dead eyes or whatever, and the silly situations that they're getting into, and sometimes like really morbid shit's going on. It's like that's great. I love the weird morbidity that happens sometimes.
For those who are interested in this, it's very limited run in some theaters. It is also just available on Prime or Apple TV
It
to
is
rent.
streaming. That's how I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I did as well. It was like $6 to rent it. So that might be like the easiest way for people to get a hold of this movie. It's in
Yes.
like the small movie theater here um
Yeah.
for me, but I there's a lot of really good like someone gets like pushed or knocked over, and then let's just beat the shit out of him. And that is a very funny gag to me.
Yeah.
Or there's one where like the tree looks like it's cut the beaver in half, and he's like going to look at
Yeah.
it, and it's just two of them that hid themselves in the snow, and then they beat the shit out of him again.
The all the stuff with the beavers is pretty good. Yeah, it takes a while to
The
get there. There's a lot of build
detectives.
up. The beaver
Yeah.
detectives and the cops, the beaver
I also
police.
think anything with a snowman is very funny.
Yeah, the lady snowman and stuff.
The
Yeah, that's really
snowman and then
good.
the lady snowman that takes the bra off, and then like
Yeah,
he's
those are
like
good.
the snowman's not reacting, so he gives him like arms so that the snowman's like cheering for him.
Those are good gags. Those are good gags. Yeah, those are very good. And I liked the gag of he kept like trying to trap certain animals or whatever, and like the other animals would eat those animals, so there would just be like body parts left there. Like it's just shit like that is like, okay, that's pretty great.
Yeah. I God, it's such a good movie. I would be shocked if this does not end up on my top 10 at the end of the year.
It
So,
is
that's what I'm saying.
unique. It's one of those things that, again, even if I wouldn't say like I enjoyed every minute of it, it's so unique that I think like it needs to be seen. It's so
How did
different.
you hear about it?
Huh? Nathan.
Nathan, okay. Because there's been a few people that have like I've like mentioned it, or I did like my post like, hey, this is what I'm watching tonight. And a couple people commenting like, oh, I've heard about this. And it is just it's kind of baffled me because the only way I found about it was just like what's playing in my theater this week. Oh,
Oh,
I don't know what this thing is. But then I've had other people who are like not movie people knowing about it, and I'm just finding that wild that like it has any word of mouth for being such a small thing.
I think Nathan was talking about it like a year ago, or because it's made like little circuits and stuff here and there. But like,
Yeah, I think the wide release was
and I
this year
mean, we all know Nathan. He's pretty in tune with that sort of thing. So
for
like, he
sure.
spoke of
Yep.
it. That's how I found out. Yeah.
Does Nathan like it?
I haven't talked with him anytime in the last like 3 months. I actually have no idea. It's been on
Oh,
my
so,
radar since I talked with him
oh, for a while. It's
for
been
a
on your
long
radar.
time. Yeah, it's been on my
Oh,
radar.
okay.
Yeah. I was
Okay.
just waiting
Yeah, I've
for it
only known
to.
about it for like a week, 2 weeks maybe.
Yeah, I completely forgot about it. Actually, Foxy, the kid in chat here, brought it up in Discord, I think last week or something, saying, have you heard of this movie? And it kind of rekindled the like, oh shit, yeah, that's the thing Nathan was talking about. So it was fresh in my mind for when it released here. That's why I watched
Okay.
it.
Okay. Well, anyway, for me, super recommend it. You should watch it. I think you should watch it with the biggest group of friends you can get. Um,
It is a
I
movie
did it
you
with
should
like
laugh with people. Like me and the girlfriend. I think if I watched this alone, I would have been way less up on it. We were like laughing and just like chatting during it or whatever, because it's kind of a silent movie, right? So like,
yeah, yeah, it's just kind of like onomatopoeia the whole time and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I had a couple people. There was like three of us, and so we were just like joking around and being like, "Wait, what? So what does that mean? This like what exactly am I looking at right now?" And
yeah,
yeah, no, it's get. I think you should get a big group of friends together and then watch this, and you'll have a great time.
yeah. Like a down to earth sounding board for all the craziness that you're watching is kind of like, it makes the situation a little bit better, I think.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Other than that, I'm trying to think. What did I? Oh, I went and saw Alien in the theaters this last weekend.
Yeah, I was curious. What did so you had never seen it, right? Like at all?
No,
Okay.
first time seeing Alien. I've seen Prometheus
Yeah, it's
and
basically
and
bad Alien, but yeah,
um and I'm also alive, so I knew
yeah,
kind of 70% of Alien.
yeah. Of course.
However, the people I went with, like several of them, no clue about Alien. Like
Oh
this is
wow,
the first time they've heard of Alien, and I was like, "What? Are you
wow.
lying to me right now? How do you do that?"
That's crazy. That's actually
Right?
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like I was like, this is a very like important movie. It's how I know 70% of what happens despite not having seen it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
So
I don't know.
like after you talked with them after you watched it, what was their opinion as people who didn't know anything, and then yours as somebody who kind of like knew what they were at least getting into?
I think my opinion was pretty much the same. Like I knew I was going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I knew it's almost like I had seen it, so mine hadn't quite changed. They kind of just didn't really know what to expect, so I think they what were they into? I think that it was more violent than they were expecting. Maybe
Oh, sure. Yeah.
they didn't know it was an R movie. They knew nothing. They were just like, "Oh, my friends are going to the movie theater, and I also have a movie theater subscription. I will tag along." What are we seeing? Huh. All right.
Sure.
Um, the showing we did see though, it had a interview in the front of it with Ridley Scott and whoever is directing the upcoming Alien movie.
Oh,
Um, and
okay.
they're and they were talking about Alien, and that spoils some of Alien, that interview.
Oh, wow. That's dumb.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
so
it wasn't a
dumb.
huge deal to me because like I was like I knew a lot of the major stuff that was going to be happening, but for some things like I didn't know exactly when every person was going to die, and they talk about like one of the deaths. And then for my friends who I was like they don't know anything, like I was like, oh, this is a bummer for you guys. um,
Yeah, no kidding. Damn.
yeah. But I mean, this is supposed to be, anyone probably seeing this in theaters should know about Alien. You would think, for the most, I don't know. Anyway,
I would think, but
no,
like I
it was a
always
good time
forget that there's a whole new generation every year born that just like
every
misses.
day.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
day. So, yeah, I guess it's interesting to me though. But they're like your age, so like
yeah.
what's the
No, that's weird.
excuse?
Honestly, one of these people, like a few weeks ago, I told them I went to go see Sasquatch Sunset, and they responded, "What's a Sasquatch?" So I don't know if they're like all in
Oh,
the head.
wow. Okay. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
So this person surprises me every week. It seems like.
it takes all
Um,
kinds.
exactly. Yeah. So a bunch of us are planning to watch Aliens in
Nice.
the foreseeable future,
I love
just to
that
just keep
movie.
it going.
Really fun.
So yeah. And then what was the actual release movie I saw on Sunday?
You saw the tennis movie with Zendaya.
Oh, Challengers. Yeah, Challengers was very enjoyable. I'm excited for this weekend though, because I'm gonna see Boy Kills World, which looks
Yeah. Yeah,
bizarre
yeah,
and
yeah.
great, and I'm seeing Fall Guy, which I'm actually just really excited to see a comedy because I've watched a lot of like dark movies lately. I guess Hundreds of Beavers was refreshing.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, this weekend will be good too. We're in summer movie season, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. We're there. I saw
Yeah.
somebody saying that in their head canon uh Fall Guy is the same character from Drive after that happens or whatever, which because it's
Oh,
Ryan
like he just
Gosling,
gets really goofy now. Like he's just like,
which is really funny to me. But
yeah,
like,
that's
yeah,
weird. All right. Yeah. Okay. I should watch Drive again. It's been a long time. I think I've only seen it once in theaters. So
yeah. Fun fact also, but like just earlier today, I tweeted something about they should just make a Hundreds of Beavers game because it's like right
sure.
there. And the Hundreds of Beavers account said we keep trying to get Timberborn on board, but they're too busy with their own beaver game.
Nice. That's good.
And
Yeah, they should just make like a Vampire Survivors clone.
yeah, that'd be actually pretty great. That would be really cool.
I heard what was the one from last year that was a clone from the movie, the Nicolas Cage vampire one with
Oh,
Nicholas Holt.
Renfield. Yeah, yeah.
Renfield. That one apparently that clone game was pretty like okay.
Oh, really? I haven't heard anything about that game.
Yeah.
So interesting. Huh.
All right, let's do the podcast. We got some big games to talk about. It's May 2nd, 2020. This is the top down perspective for May 2nd, 2024. I don't care. Do we do the year? I don't even remember, man.
I
I'm all
don't
out of it.
actually remember either.
Yeah, I'm Sean Booker. I remember that part.
I'm Paul Fleck.
Oh, you've played some games this week.
I did. I actually didn't play Final Fantasy VII at all, so there's no recap for
Okay.
that. First off,
It
uh,
sounds healthy.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm ready to go back. Like every day I don't play it, I'm more and more ready to go back and like see more of it. I feel like refreshed, taking a break. Just take.
Nice. That's just good gaming.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be stoked to go back to that and finish it off eventually. Until then, though, I got an early build of the Rogue Prince of Persia, so I played a bit of that this
Yeah, I saw
week.
you playing that, and I was immediately like, "Wait, is this out early access?" And it wasn't. So I was like, "Oh, he must have the hookup."
So
Got jealous.
yeah, actually, because back I previewed Dead Cells before that blew up, so they had my name on a list, I'm guessing, and they just sent me
Okay,
this.
sure.
The Rogue Prince of Persia is Dead Cells. So if you like
That's
that,
fantastic.
like
Yeah. I well, but here's me. I like Dead Cells and I like the Prince of Persia. Would I be into this game?
yeah, so I guess like the
Nice.
big difference is obviously there is more of a focus on platforming and kind of parkour movements through the environment rather than a bunch of like weapon variation and stuff, which is what the Dead Cells kind of did. There is weapon variation stuff in there, but you get more like perks that you can equip that like do more damage when an enemy is poisoned, or like set an enemy on fire when you kick them backwards or something, or if two enemies hit each other they explode into a poison cloud, just stuff like that. But like all of the weapons that they kind of showcase in this early thing are all pretty standard. You have like a spear, a sword, that sort of thing, and they all kind of play a little bit differently. Animations are very fluid, very cool looking. The focus mainly is though like wall running in some spots to like get over spike pits and doing a double jump and grabbing onto a ledge that you like do kind of a parkour thing up. Like it's a very movement focused in a lot of spots, which is fun when it works properly, but sometimes there's just this weird momentum you have when you're moving around that feels like really janky and bad. And I couldn't tell if that was my controller dying, which it did while I was playing, so that was incredibly annoying, or
Right.
just some like I don't know, like there's probably weird movement bugs and stuff because it's kind of ambitious what they're doing with how you move through that environment. So I'm sure there's probably some jank there. It's not even the early access build, so I'm sure it's going to be better when that releases in a couple weeks. But
Yeah.
uh, the formula is pretty simple. There's like a like level timeline sort of thing at the very top. You go in through each level, and they're kind of like a different biome is what they're just referring to them as, different look and feel or whatever, different enemies, and then a boss after two. I think there's a boss, then two, a boss, and then two, and then the final boss, I'm guessing, is what they're doing, kind of the same as Dead Cells. And then I'm sure they're just going to add on top of that as you go. Maybe different biomes will unlock as they release them, sort of thing, like randomize that. And it is a roguelite, so when you die, you go back to a camp where you can spend these I can't remember what they are. They're like the cores or whatever, that you spend them to unlock recipes and different perks and stuff that you can start new runs with, or at least let them drop in the run.
What is the conceit for you like ending a run and continuing? Like what's the narrative?
You have this power so Persia's being attacked by the Huns, and they have this like magical power thing, and you have like some of that in this MacGuffin that you carry around your neck, like a medallion. And when you die, it supposedly brings you back to a point in time that was like near recent or whatever. And he even keeps lamenting. He's like, why does it keep bringing me back to like after the Huns attacked rather than before it, so I could like stop all this or
Oh, okay.
whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, it just a magical doohickey does it.
Right, and then that's how they're also bringing in kind of the time mechanics from Prince of Persia.
The time mechanics and why like some of these enemies are straight up monsters of some sort every now and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Does it have like Dead Cells wasn't super on the exploration, but it did have like it was pretty like flat
Yeah.
and kind of sides from left to right, but there was a lot of like you would go down like a
Very similar.
building for a while,
Yep.
and then you would kind of warp back to the entrance of that building, and you would keep going to the right. So is it like that as well?
Very similar. You'll go into like little crevices or whatever, and there'll be a doorway with a light shining through that. If you go into it, there's like a platforming challenge room at the end of which you'll get a perk of some sort or like a weapon recipe or whatever, and then you can just like it loops all the way back to the beginning, and then you can keep on going. So very similar. Pretty like literally it's one of these, yo, you like Dead Cells but you want more movement based stuff, this is your game. This is what that is.
Nice. I'm excited. I love Dead Cells. I think I may have missed. I think I played most of the DLC, but whenever they add like multiple biomes, so I probably haven't seen
I
everything
missed
in the
so
new
many.
stuff. But
Yeah.
um, it's worth going back. Like they're good. Dead Cells is cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I got hooked on this game. I've been kind of swearing off roguelites a little bit because I'm just like, I just want to play like narrative driven stuff. And then I got this, so I was like, okay, we'll take a look at this, obviously. And I just was like, kept playing for like 2 hours or something. It's like, I can't stop. Like, it's just so fun. It's
Nice.
very good. And it's only going to get better. I played the worst version probably of it out right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably do my usual early access thing where I'll play like an hour of it and then be like, okay, I will see you in a year and a half when you
Yes.
are actually out because
Yep.
I don't want to get burnt out with this.
I
So
didn't do that with Dead Cells, and I definitely burned myself out, which is why I didn't see a lot of that DLC stuff after.
sure.
Yeah, so I'm with you. The other game is Steller Blade came out, and I think I actually even played it right after we finished TDP last week, and I've been playing it every night since, basically. I'm about halfway done, I assume, and that counts all of the side stuff as well. I'm doing everything in it. It's pretty basic. It's near. If you like near, you'll probably like this. It has the same sort of weird jank to it, like an old PS2 or early PS3 game or something. Just with a combat system that I really, really like. I like parry mechanics quite a bit and a focus on dodging and punishing and countering enemies rather than just like hack
Right.
and slash. So they give you a lot of stuff in there. If you just like hack and slash stuff, it might be a little annoying because I wouldn't say the hack and slashing, if you just like hit the button a bunch and wait for the enemy to die, feels very good. It is very much
Okay.
about like obviously doing as much damage as you can, but then when you see the attacks coming, parrying every attack so that you can do like a I can't remember, an execution or something they call it, just like a lot of damage, and then you can follow up and do more and more. As I've been going though, there has been more and more mechanics unlocking, so I have a lot of buttons to play now. It's actually very similar to Final Fantasy 16 that way, where it felt very samey for a while, and now I'm pressing like L1 and R1 to do different special attacks in between my normal attacks and parrying and stuff. So I have like
Okay.
kind of a whole bunch of stuff in my utility belt that I could use. So it's been funner and funner combat wise as I've been going. But I was hooked on it right from the demo, so I like it quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it for a bit. I played through the tutorial and kind of stopped because I prioritized Final Fantasy, finishing that up.
Yeah,
I was really wanting to get to it this week, but it's been a weird week gaming wise for me because with my trip happening like in the middle of next week, I didn't want to like kind of start anything,
yeah, for sure.
especially not one that I knew I wouldn't finish. That I was gonna just like at this point I was planning to restart Stellar Blade so I could do the tutorial again.
Sure. That's smart.
So playing an extra, getting another 5 hours into it and would have just made no sense because I wouldn't get to touch it for 2 weeks.
Totally.
So I'm planning on just restarting it when I'm back from my trip at the end of May. Um,
I'm curious how you'll find it, because I know you don't particularly like parry mechanics and stuff, but I will say
yeah.
they updated it day one or whatever, so that stuff feels a little bit easier than before. And there is this weird kind of almost like half-second delay when you start like a parry chain that makes it easier and easier to parry if you don't fuck it up the first time, at least. Because some, like, a lot of these
Okay.
enemies will attack you like 5 times in a row or something, right?
Yeah.
And as long as you
Yeah.
like get the first one, every other attack feels almost a little bit slower or something, so that you can kind of get the timing. It's a bit easier than some of the games, some other games I've played. I keep telling people that this game plays like a combination of Nier, in a lot of story centric ways, especially, but
Yeah.
with like the kind of semi open world stuff and side missions and whatever. But the combat is very much more Sekiro like, where there's a lot of you doing just a massive amount of damage after like countering a bunch of like attacks or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be one of those games that I think a lot of people probably bought maybe sight unseen for various reasons, which if you look up any images of it, you probably can
By
understand.
various, do you mean like both boobs?
Well, both boobs and butt, both are there. So,
Okay. Both the butts?
and there's been like a lot of stupid controversy with morons going on right now that also
Holy
has given it
shit!
kind of a bump, I think.
Have you been seeing? I know you're
I've been
on
seeing all
Twitter
of it.
list.
Yeah.
This like video petition stuff.
Yeah, I was talking about it and I watched all of them. Dude, I've seen so many just like guys our age almost crying, just being like, but you just like sold me the wrong product. I think this is wrong for Sony to do. Or it's like,
It is some of the cringiest shit.
it's
Like,
so
oh my
crazy.
god!
It's
And
so
what's
crazy.
insane is that like they're doing this voluntarily. They're making these videos and putting them on the internet. It's oh,
And it's not even like weird, funny memes. It's like legitimately somebody with their phone filming their face talking very seriously about
did you
less
see the one where the guy's like,
cleavage.
"Does this look like the body of an incel? Does this look like the home gym of an incel?" And both of the times I was like, "Yeah, probably. I don't know. What?"
Yeah. It's incredible. You can't write comedy that good. It's
It is,
incredible.
yeah, like it is insane. I one of my core rules that I live by is I don't put anything on the internet that I wouldn't want to see on the front page of Reddit. I think this is
I
a great.
definitely have not followed that rule myself, but yeah, I agree.
I
You
follow that
should.
rule for
You
sure.
should.
That I think that's a pretty good rule.
Yeah.
These guys need to follow that rule. Like,
Yeah. Yes, they should. So I spent actually a night just kind of going through a bunch of those and laughing to myself because I found it really funny and also like a little bit sad. Honestly, for them, I mean.
yeah, like it's a weird scenario where it's like so sad that it is now kind of funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, like yeah, it's the craziest nonsense. But
Yeah, so I think
which like, and again, I can't. We were kind of talking about this last week, and I can't speak too much because I haven't played enough of it. But it's like this game probably doesn't even like deserve that much.
it
Like,
doesn't.
is it even good enough to deserve that like this much attention?
I mean, good enough, yes, but not for the reasons that
Yeah.
not for the
Okay.
reasons that people are saying. Because listen, to be, I think there were some situations they put her in, which is way more sexualized than some of the positions Eve gets in here. Eve just is hanging out, like I don't know.
Literally and figuratively.
Well, no, because that's the problem, right? They censored her, so she can't be hanging out completely.
Ah,
I
fuck
want my
Sony,
money
man. What
back.
are you doing? This is how Sony's holding the fun hostage.
Yeah, now it's Sony's fault for sure. But no, like I think it's getting more attention because of stuff like that, and obviously like it looks kind of like a Souls like game or whatever, but it plays probably a little bit less like people might be expecting. So I expect there will probably be some people buying it sight unseen in some way, and bouncing off a little bit hard because the combat does take a little bit getting used to. I wouldn't say it's easy to pick up and play, but it does feel good if you're willing to kind of put up with the little learning curve that there is there.
I know I believe there's difficulty options though, so you could just turn it down.
There's two, normal and easy. So
Okay.
I'm sure easy is probably just enemies die quicker and you take less damage, which is great. Like that's all
Yeah.
you would need, honestly.
Do you have any interest in Rise of the Ronin?
Not at all.
Okay.
What?
Another kind of parry heavy one, so you might be into it. Also,
Yeah,
like, I think you would like it. It's kind of Ghost of Tsushima adjacent.
the more and more I've heard people talk about it, I think I can't remember who it was. Somebody was saying this is actually just like the next Neo, and I was like, okay, that's the most interesting thing I've heard in a while
Yeah.
about this because it didn't look that way from the trailers I saw, which is kind of why I wrote it off. But if it's basically Neo, then yeah, I'd probably be into it. I don't know. Listen, I don't know if you know, there's so much to play right now that I'm not hurting for
Oh.
another one right now.
What am I doing? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's been pretty much it for me, though.
Yeah. So speaking of what I've been doing, I thought I had finished Sandland this week because I finished where the manga ends,
Okay, yeah.
and then the story kept going. So there's just like new stuff in there.
Oh, so there is stuff. There is kind of like new canon in there. Cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I guess. Like, well, so my question is, I wonder if this comes from anything. Is there a Sandland anime?
There is. I think
Okay.
it's releasing
I'm
now,
curious.
though, right?
Oh, is it?
Like
Let me
I
look
thought
this
it
up.
was airing
Chat.
recently.
So the original. Oh, that might be this. No, that's the manga. Oh yeah, it's like were they all dropped on March 20th? What the hell? What is this?
Oh, do they all drop? I thought they were dropping
Well, it looks like
finished airing.
6 of
No,
them
you're
all
right.
dropped.
Oh, okay. I
Oh,
got it
well, it
here.
finished airing yesterday.
Yeah, aired March 20th to May 1st. So, yeah, they just released it. So who knows? Maybe there is a reason to watch that anime.
Okay, actually, so you know what? Now that I'm looking at this,
yeah.
on the episodes, the it looks like about halfway through episode 6 is where the manga ends and
Oh,
then
wow.
continues on. And the episode 7 is even called On to a New Adventure. And when you do start this stuff in the game, the achievement you get is like I think it might be called On to a New Adventure or something new adventure like that. So
When did this
I
game
guess they just
release? Do you remember? Was it
last week. Yeah. So
Oh,
they
okay,
must
yeah.
have it's weird because you play through the stuff in the manga and there's like a definitive ending and then it just kind of keeps going like a whole new bad person just comes out of nowhere, like not related in any way. It's not like, oh, and this person was controlling the strings. It's literally just like cut fade to black, fade up from black. Oh, there's an angry person over here. It almost just kind of feels like here's part 2. Here's Sandland 2, but
Huh.
they just consider it one thing. It's so like from a narrative pacing wise, it's just odd. I That must be what they're doing with the anime.
I would assume so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. So I'm in the second half of it now. I think
Okay.
you can mainline this game pretty quickly because when I was looking on the how long to beat, it's lower than what we had talked about last time. You know, more people are playing it now.
Sure.
I think we said like 30 hours when we looked it up. Right now it's at 19 and a half. I
That's pretty
finished the
good.
manga story in 6 hours. I did not do much side stuff because I thought it was pretty boring.
Okay, that's
Um,
fair. So,
so I would guess I'm going to finish this game in 10 to 12 hours.
okay. I mean, so if you just wanted to, it sounds like the manga is actually kind of the worst way if there's actual new content that it doesn't have or whatever. If you were to wanting to experience this, you're saying the anime might just be the best way because there's
So
a
that's
lot
how
of
you'll
filler
get
in the
all of it.
game.
I can't speak to if this part 2 is any good because I don't it's
Yeah,
completely new to me at this point.
gotcha.
Um I'm also curious. Toriyama must have been involved, I would guess, because they would have been working on this for
He
a couple of
was.
years.
He
Yeah.
apparently he's even said before he died that he was very proud of what they did with that game. So
Okay. Yeah, I guess if you want all of it, maybe watch the anime. I haven't watched the anime, so I don't know if it's any good, but
sure.
I would assume it's fine. But again, that manga is such a quick read. There's like 14 issues, and they're like 20 pages each. Like
Yeah,
you could do it in like 2 hours. It's such a short read.
sure.
Um, Anyway, so that's kind of what I have mainly been playing because I was thinking, oh, I could probably wrap this up before I leave, and so, but now I don't exactly know, but I have a few days left, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll get that done. And then the other game I've been playing is so they announced SteamWorld Heist 2 a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I never played that first one. It was $1 on iOS,
Oh
so
wow.
I scooped that up and I started that. I'm really liking SteamWorld Heist.
Oh okay.
Um, it's like a really simple tactics
Yeah.
game, like a side-scrolling tactics game. It does the one thing though, I don't like it when games do this where the default setting is like it's like hard mode or it's called like experienced or something like that, and then the one that's like one below you is called regular. And I'm sitting there being like, well, I want the like normal playthrough. And like okay, so there's regular, but it says for a more chill experience, but it also says no bonus XP. And then the one you defaulted to says I'll get 10% bonus XP. So it's like, so what's like the regular? What's medium?
Sure. Yeah.
Like Halo did this for the longest time where they would like be like, "Oh, for like regular for normal players, you should play on hard." It's like, "Well, then make that like medium. What are you doing? Why would you call that one hard then?"
How how would you feel if every video game from here on out always just started on whatever they consider their default difficulty, and then you could change it after, like, I don't know, you could change it right away if you go into the menu, but like if you keep
Like if I'm
dying,
having a hard time or an easy time.
if you keep like dying way too much, it'll do the like, hey listen, if you want it a little bit easier, here's like the whatever. Or like if you want it harder, you could just go in the menu and make it harder. But no matter what, every video game starts on what the developers think is the right appropriate amount.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as long as I can change it later. And this game does say you can change it before every single mission. Um,
Okay.
then I guess, yeah, that's one less thing I have to think about. That also kind of brings up the conversation topic of like, how do you feel about dynamic difficulty settings? Where what if the game just did it on its own?
As a non-speedrunner, I love it. Because
Okay.
why? Yeah, I think that's great. And also, like, my way also, I think there's this weird thing. Some people I watch that are like YouTube creators or streamers or whatever, they have this weird thing where like they have to play it on hard even if they don't necessarily want to, because
I know some
that's,
people like that.
and like if you just took it away where every game just defaults to what the dev says this is the way you should play it, then like maybe it would also save those people from their own prison.
Yeah, like I know people that will do that, and a lot of the reasons, the way they kind of justify it is they want to be forced to engage with like all the mechanics
That's totally
and
fair too.
all the like synergies and stuff. Whereas a lot
Yeah.
of the time on normal, on many games on the normal setting, you can kind of like ignore one or two,
Yeah.
weapon triangles or stuff like that, and kind of just brute force your way through it. But they
Yeah.
don't want that. They want to be like, no, I want to have to be on the ball every time.
Yeah. And I mean that's totally legit too. But I I don't think you should take away options ever. I just think that there
Sure.
should be
Yep.
a
I agree.
baseline that they just force you into, and then you can decide after if you want it more or less.
Yeah. And with that thought process, like I'm agreeing, but like the dynamic difficulty, I like the idea of it on paper, but I also
Yeah.
do like getting overpowered and just being able to kind of steamroll something because I did all the
Yeah.
side quests. Like
Yeah.
that's enjoyable.
No, you're right. That part feels good. Also, sometimes I like a little pushback, right? Like I like something to be difficult enough where I have to bang my head against it for like 5 or 6 times, and then I feel a little bit better when I learned the mechanic proper. I mean, that's why I like Souls games, because that's what that is learning, dying to a boss like 5 times because it does some weird shit you don't expect, and then learning it, and then it's fine. So I
Like
like
yeah,
that
it's
sort of
doing a
thing.
check to make sure you know how to parry or know how to do the
Or at least
whatever
move
the
out of the
mechanic.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll keep playing SteamWorld Heist because two's like just around the corner. I think I even have like I think I'm previewing it during some of the summer game stuff. I
Nice.
have a preview lined up, so
Nice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let's do some news. Let's start off with this Nintendo Switch rumor that was getting reported and talked about a bunch earlier this week. So there's two kind of aspects I wanted to bring up. First was the main rumor here is that they are going to have magnetic Joy-Cons. They're going to be changing kind of how the Joy-Cons connect to the Switch system. It is sounding once again like that the Switch 2 is going to have a very similar form factor of dock, take it out, controllers can come off, connect to it, but they might be changing how the Joy Cons connect to it, um, which means the old Joy Cons might not work anymore. This part of this rumor does say that the Pro controller would still work, which makes
Sure.
sense because it doesn't have to connect. So like, why wouldn't that
Any
just work?
Bluetooth thing should, theoretically.
I don't think that's the case now, right? Don't you need like with that 8-bit DOE little accessory to get another
Oh,
controller
no,
to connect
no.
to it?
No, I mean like official stuff like this should work, like the
Oh
N64.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
So, yes,
all the stuff that doesn't have to connect to it at all.
sure,
Should.
yeah. Hopefully, I guess. Yep.
Yeah, hopefully.
Um, Other than that, yeah, I don't really see what the magnetic mechanism would do for anyone. I haven't had a problem with the way they do it now, the rails, but maybe it's more
I like the
efficient in some
rails.
way. Who knows? Um, what's weirder about this though is how so it was a hardware manufacturer, like an accessories manufacturer, that was kind of talking about this. I'm just going to read this little paragraph here. According to the
Sure.
report, the unnamed manufacturer claims to have interacted with the new console, which was encased in an opaque box.
Okay.
So they got to feel the console. Apparently
Okay.
they were unable to see the console due to Nintendo's fear of leaks, but they could touch it to get a better idea of the size and dimensions.
Yeah.
So like So the
Makes
scenario
sense.
here is Nintendo comes up and be like, "Oh, the new console? Yeah, we have it right here. Look at it? No, 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 no. But we can like, I guess we could like open this side and you could stick your hand in the box.
Yeah,
Is that good enough?"
we got this bag of popcorn. They just cut a hole in the bottom of it and then put the
Yeah.
New Nintendo Switch up in it.
This scenario is insane to me.
Yeah,
Like,
this is crazy.
I
Because
mean,
what they should be doing is just putting out an NDA and then suing them into oblivion if they break it, like every other
but
company.
sure, but I mean, what if this person does break the NDA? Like, they've broken it, and no matter how much you sue them, you're not going to get that back. The lightning
Yeah.
is out of the bottle. So I could also see that. But like, just the I just love this idea of like, we'll open this slot and you can put your hand in it and you can kind of feel it up a little bit, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine just like saying that to another adult
I mean, yeah, I've been
and
to
then going
prom,
through
so
this
I definitely have.
transaction?
Yeah.
Ugh. I say that though, if I was this unnamed manufacturer, I would absolutely want to feel up this Nintendo Switch too. Like, I would not say no to that.
And there's the title for the episode. You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, over on the Xbox side, there was a another ID Xbox stream. Did you catch this?
I didn't even know this was fucking happening. No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, it was like a partnership with IGN, whatever. It was basically an ID at Xbox stream. There was some cool stuff. So I have the list of what was shown here. I think we should just call out some stuff that's of interest to us. This will be the first look for you. So what jumps out at you?
Yeah, sorry, I'm actually just scrolling right now.
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Yeah. You
They showed 33 Immortals again and kind of talked about how it's actually going to work. Closed beta is set for late May. I'm still very excited about that.
Yes. Yes, I'm also excited about that. What's this Pal World thing? New pals? Oh, I saw this on Twitter. Yeah, I saw that.
They just showed new palace was kind of the big thing.
World War II era
Lost
game
Records, Bloom and Rage got a trailer, no release date. That's the new game from Don't Nod. I think that
Yes.
this game looks really good.
This is the one set in the 90s, right? With a group of girls that stumble on something, and that's kind of the teaser we
Yep.
got. Okay, yeah.
Yep. And one of the devs, Nina Freeman, who worked on Gone Home and Tacoma, is one of the lead narrative designers here. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, the pedigree is definitely there. This I really like old VHS and just kind of old tech looks in videos, so like this trailer is doing it for me. I like it. Cool. Okay.
Jackbox is making an adult themed party pack coming this year.
Wait, what?
The Jackbox Naughty Pack.
Wasn't there one of those Wii Dare on the Wii or whatever? Isn't that a thing?
I guess that was, yeah. From those were more just like goofy mini games where you had to like,
Where the Wiimote was a
I don't know,
dick, basically.
yeah, you had to like
Yeah.
nuzzle the Wiimote, and it only came out in Europe.
Oh, you're right. It did.
I'm assuming,
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is going to be more Jackbox style where you're kind of like inputting prompts. I'm assuming this is going to be very Cards Against Humanity like.
Okay. Sure. That makes some more sense, honestly.
Because like a lot of those games are very Cards Against Humanity adjacent, and like at least my friend group, a lot of the time we're putting naughty words in there.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah, so they're just kind of leaning into that. So I'm curious, kind of what'll be different. I'm also curious from the writers' room perspective, how many times someone had to say that's already a Cards Against Humanity card, we can't use it.
Sure.
Like, because I'm assuming a lot of there's a lot of Cards Against Humanity cards and packs, and I'm assuming a lot of those things people would have wanted to use. But if you just keep putting all that in, you might as well just go play Cards Against Humanity, which most people have played.
Yep. There are free versions of that shit everywhere online too. There's like no excuse not to play it if that's what you want. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Oh, I did see something about this. What is this called? Oh, it's the Pixel Junk Monsters people. Okay.
I was just about to call this one out. All You Need Is Help. This is a trailer you should absolutely look up because there's a fun, cute song in it as well. This looks weird. It's like co-op, sometimes competitive puzzle game. Where
okay,
you're like
this
trying
song's
to fit
great.
pieces together. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta turn it
I
off.
also just like the name. All You Need Is Help.
All You Need Is Help is good.
It's a good name.
Yep.
Yeah.
This looks cute. Yeah, that's awesome. That I'm excited for already. Uh, was there anything else that you had that you were excited about? While I quickly go
They
through a bunch
announced
of.
another Vampire Survivors pack
This
in
is a Contra
addition
one,
to
right?
no, another one
Oh, okay.
that came out that day.
Oh,
Which I can't remember what that one was, but so there's a lot of Vampire Survivors to play in the next couple of days. The other one I'll call out is Dungeons of Hinterberg. I got to check this out during GDC when I was at their Xbox event. This looks like a really cool, just kind of character puzzle, open world little looking game.
there's a
Really
game
nice art
called
style.
Hangry where you hunt down and eat monsters.
Yep,
All right.
that's been announced before. But yeah,
Okay, that looks. Oh, hey, the Paradise Killer creators put out a new game, huh? Or are putting out a new game.
yeah,
That's cool.
yep,
What's
yep. Saw that as well. I forget the
Ma-
name of that one.
what is this? Mascot Agency?
Yeah, I think that's Promise Mascot Agency. Yes.
I'm guessing it plays very similarly. It kind of looks like it
I
so far.
believe it also looks kind of visual novel-y. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's neat.
Also, it includes card-based battle.
Uh,
I
yeah,
don't know. You can even see if that's in the trailer or not. But anyway,
cool.
that was the
Okay,
Xbox stream.
nice.
A couple of weeks ago, we talked about how Take-Two was laying off 5% of its staff.
Yeah.
There's like 1,100 people or whatever. It wasn't talked about where these layoffs were coming. And then just recently, we found out some of the studios hit. Um, there's a few of them here. This is some pretty depressing news. Roll 7 is basically getting shut down, which they did Roller Drome and Ollie Ollie games. Ollie Ollie World was their most
Right.
recent one.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
Okay.
basically gone. Um,
Huh.
they're also shutting down Intercept Games, which is the Kerbal Space program, Kerbal Space Games.
Yeah, that's too
And
bad.
then just before recording, or sorry, I guess not just before, earlier today, the vast majority of Private Division, which is a publisher that did some cool stuff, they have the upcoming No Rest for the Wicked from Moon Studios. They did it's the Obsidian one, Outer Worlds. They
Oh,
published
okay.
those.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds like this studio is almost completely gone, which is a bummer.
Huh.
The real sad one is Roll 7 because Ollie Ollie World, and I also really liked Roller Drome. Um, and just having those like no more is sad.
Yeah, crazy. Was there like a list of all of them? I can't read the Bloomberg article because I'm not a
I can't read the Bloomberg
thing.
article either
Bummer.
because it's paywalled, but
Yeah.
it's those these are the three studios that have been
Yeah.
announced kind of.
Gotcha. Okay. Bummer.
Back on Xbox, Xbox announced their Summer Games Showcase.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Okay.
just further kind of filling out that week. This is going to happen on Sunday, June 9th,
Yep.
which made me have to reschedule some of my Summer Games Fest appointments. So thanks for doing it
Eh,
on one of the same days.
Yay.
Um, Last year, if you remember when they did their Summer Games Showcase, they had a follow up immediately that was all Starfield related for like
Yeah.
45 minutes, an hour, whatever it was. They're doing the same one again, which they've redacted the name of it, but everyone's just confirmed it's Call of Duty.
Sure.
Specifically, they're thinking Black Ops 5, which would make sense.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So this will be the first time that Microsoft has been doing the Call of Duty announcements since 2014. I think I read since the
Oh
advertising
wow.
deal went over to PlayStation,
Yeah.
and now Microsoft obviously owns it. So we'll see how
That's
that basically goes.
that's
Um,
crazy. Huh.
some other rumors from some reporters is that we are going to see a new Gears of War getting announced.
Okay.
The
Hmm.
Starfield DLC Shattered Space will be
Yeah.
targeting
Sure.
September.
Of course. Yeah.
Um, Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War will be the name, and it'll be late October.
Okay.
Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in November 2024.
Okay.
Avowed will come out in November 2024, and the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will be in December of this year.
I'd love to see more for that Indiana Jones game. So that would be awesome.
Just looking at this list of 6, that's a pretty packed
Pretty
like
strong.
fall. I mean, Gears won't be this year. That's probably like a next fall game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
But
even further depending on how far they are on it, I guess.
sure.
So,
Um, but yeah, they got something in each month starting with September, so that's good for Xbox, good for them for sure.
yeah,
But we'll see for sure. I got my invite, so I'll be in watching this thing in person.
nice.
All right, over to Square Enix. I'm going to read this headline. Final Fantasy maker Square Enix takes $140 million hit in content abandonment losses, as they've called it, as it revises its game pipeline. Um, over
That
the
sucks.
week, they chose to basically cancel a few games that were in production. It was originally reported as 22.1 billion yen, which is approximately 141 million US dollars. No word on what the games they canceled are. Obviously, it's the next Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for
um,
sure.
so who knows what they canceled, but they canceled a shit ton of games recently, and I just thought the phrase "content abandonment losses," this is their wording, was kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah. That. So I'm just like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy are gonna be safe, right? Because those are like their bread makers.
Absolutely.
Dragon Quest as well. Do you think Foam Stars? Do you think they keep that going?
That's a question. Like whatever season they're planning for Foam Stars, is that about to get cut short?
Why don't they make that thing free to play?
Yeah.
Like
It's almost
fuck.
it's almost a big question. If you're coming out with a very multiplayer focused game, you
Yeah.
kind of have to do free to play. Although, flip side, Helldivers 2 is doing fantastic. That game's $40.
So my my initial gut reaction that I was just about to blurt out was, yeah, that's because that's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
There are things about Foam Stars that are good and that it's very fun, but
Sure.
that is a free to play fucking game if I ever saw one.
I wouldn't be surprised if it does the kind of trajectory of switch to free to play.
Yeah.
Then it gives everyone who bought it like $20 of in-game currency to like make up for the money they spent or something like that. I don't know. It was also a PlayStation Plus title, so maybe if you redeemed it through there, you won't get the refund. Who knows?
That's how I
Whatever.
got it because, man, I was not going to pay for that thing.
This is probably a whole bunch of like like anime farming sims that were gonna come onto the Switch that we
Yeah.
just never heard about. Like Square puts out a ton of random ass like life and farm simulators that just nobody gives a shit about because there's like a dime a dozen of them these days.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to keep up with don't they do a bunch of like smaller RPGs still as well? Like
Probably.
is are they Octopath? Like
Yep.
so Octopath is probably going to die, right? Like that's probably going
Maybe that one did get a sequel.
to
They did
Yeah.
Triangle Strategy. They just had another one that came out earlier this year that I heard wasn't great, but I can't remember what that one was called. Someone in the chat will tell me. But there was like another one from like that studio,
They're
I
not
think.
the
Anyway,
Euden Chronicles or whatever people,
they're
right?
not. Although
Okay.
I heard that most recent one was incredibly buggy and kind of a disappointment.
I heard it was a disappointment as well, but I didn't really understand why. If it's buggy, then that makes sense.
Jason Schreier was tweeting about it. He's a huge Suikoden fan, so he was really looking
Yeah.
forward to this, and he talked a lot about it because he was reviewing it basically. One of the ones that just kind of stuck out to me that he was tweeting was that the enemy spawn rate was tied to your frame rate. So if you were playing on PC and you had the frame rate cranked up, you just wouldn't have enemies spawning,
Wow.
which is such a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah, that's all right.
Anyway, yeah, if
Weird.
people want to hear more about his thoughts, I would highly recommend checking out his Twitter because he's one of the people who would know. Continuing with Square, apparently there's a Kingdom Hearts movie happening and it's going to be live action. That's
Oh.
all the news there really is.
It's
Actually, this tweet is saying animated, but I saw
yeah.
other reports talking about live action, so who even knows, man? What would you want?
I mean, I would want animated for sure. Although the nightmare
Or
fuel of somebody playing like Donald or whatever as a human would be great.
well, maybe it would be like the humans are live action, but
Yeah.
the game characters are not. Like kind of like Sonic
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
or Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Maybe it would be that.
It's interesting. I
Anyway,
mean, the interesting part about it is because like the Disney license or whatever, right? So like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like that would cost a lot of money in just licensing fees, let alone actually making the thing.
I think you would make a lot of money.
It
People that
would
are into
probably make a
Kingdom
lot.
Hearts are like weirdly into Kingdom Hearts.
More so maybe than Sonic well, Sonic fans are weirdly into Sonic in a different weird way.
Yeah, I would say I think Sonic fans are weirder than Kingdom Hearts
They're
fans.
weirder, but yeah. They're not even as into the actual source material as they are just being their name the Hedgehog or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some questions. Topdownperspective@gmail.com is the email address, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. Excuse me. Or John's P.O. Box are great ways to send questions in, and you could sound like Suku Suku, who writes, how often do you replace your shoes?
Oh man. Honestly, I should replace mine probably. I would say every 2 to 3 years currently. It used to be every year when I worked in a warehouse, but it's less now.
I say it used to be a lot more. I also used to have a lot less shoes, so I would just kind of wear the same ones like to school every day, and they would be the ones that I was like running in.
Yeah.
So I would, but I feel I feel like these days, the pandemic also kind of like really screwed stuff up time
Right.
wise.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I used to go through shoes kind of often, but then when I started playing sports with like cleats, then it kind of switched. So I
Yeah.
wasn't messing up my shoes too much. The shoes that I do change out a lot are my gym shoes. Those ones get pretty messed up, and I change those probably every like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, 2 to 3 years is probably safe for just like shoes that you wear pretty regularly.
I don't know, because I have like a lot of like, I don't know, Converse shoes or stuff like, stuff that I'll like kind of wear into the office or to the movie theater. Those don't really get damaged. Like I've had some of those
Mm.
shoes for probably close to a decade because I'm not running in them. It's like
Yeah,
running is what really messes up my shoes.
yeah, it really depends what you're doing to them. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Rasterman7 writes, do you often play menu games or parkour games? And then he gave a context Calvin and Hobbes thing where basically the dad is a meme and the dad is saying there's two types of games. The two types of games are menus and parkour. All games fall into these two categories. Counter-Strike, menus, Apex, parkour, Baldur's Gate, menus, Minecraft, parkour. Despite a lot of jumping around, Destiny 2 is menus. And then Calvin is having a crisis after that is the comic panel. It's very humorous. You should be part of the Discord to see it. But yeah, I don't know. I probably parkour because I kind of like the actiony thing more than just kind of going through menus. But lately, it seems like I've been playing a lot of RPGs which are mainly menu focused in a lot of ways. I don't know, man.
Why is Counter Strike menus? Why is Destiny 2 menus?
I'm guessing because you
I don't.
buy guns.
Okay. I don't fully understand the definitions here. I could understand how you would call like Baldur's Gate a menu one
Yep.
because I get that, and I guess Minecraft is parkour. Apex parkour, wait, because there's like abilities. Is that? I don't understand these definitions.
Yeah. Right. I still think parkour is probably what I play the most often.
I like Apex. That's one parkour. I like
Uh
Baldur's
huh.
Gate. That's one. I like Destiny 2. I guess I like menu games.
Okay, just by
I don't
that
know.
definition alone.
But like, I don't. Mario must be parkour, right? Because you're literally jumping.
Yeah, I think where a lot of the driving factor is mainly you playing better or you like upgrading something or like something through a menu to help increase the gameplay, I'm guessing is maybe. Because like in Counter-Strike, you get different guns, so maybe that's menu. And Apex, it's you just like learning how not to suck with your character gets you better or whatever. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe menu, because I don't know. I've played a lot of games where there's like inventory management, it feels like, and that's pretty menu heavy.
I'm thinking maybe I'm more parkour because I'm thinking, well, if Apex is parkour, then I bet like Overwatch is parkour, and
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, Rock Band's probably parkour.
Yeah,
Is it
what
like
is
which
Rock
of the? Is
Band?
it like how much thought goes into the games? Is that kind of it?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, there you go. Hopefully that was an answer.
Enlightening, yeah.
This next one from Dead, I think we kind of answered, so I'll just kind of read it. What would you want in an adult Jackbox game? I think we talked about this a bit, but anything else you really want to add?
Jack is on a horse and you have to help Jack off of the horse. Help Jack off the horse. Anyway, I don't know. No, I have nothing to add.
Okay. All right. Is that like a Jackass reference?
No, I don't know. Dumb like
Okay.
kids joke or something.
All right. You just wanted to
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
What do I want? Like, I don't think you need to put nudity in this.
No, of
I
course
think
not.
it becomes a completely different game. So like, I don't want that. It also, you put nudity in this, it becomes a much harder party game to like actually like be okay with.
Especially because Sony's going to censor it and then people are going to get mad. So, no good.
Right. Yeah, of course. Well, we'll start the petition to hopefully kind of reverse that.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Man,
yeah.
I can't believe that thing exists. VGC Kenny writes, what's something you don't like about a game that's incredibly petty? For instance, I don't like that Psychonauts 2 looks as good as it does, because Psychonauts 1 looks bad, even for PS2 standards, and Psychonauts 2 should just look bad. Another thing, I don't like that there's no loading screens in between different parts of the map in Kingdom Hearts 3, because that's a staple of Kingdom Hearts for me.
These are insane. These are insane things to think.
Yeah, they're incredibly petty. I got one. I don't like that every Resident Evil after 3 isn't tank controls. Fuck all of you that don't like tank controls.
Okay.
Incredibly petty.
I don't know if this one's petty, but it is kind of a similar vein of them making like a choice. I preferred when Fire Emblem like wasn't super about the relationships and was more about like let's get down to some like real tactics strategy.
That's probably not petty enough. Is there like an?
That's what I'm saying is I don't think it's petty, but your thing of like diverging from.
I know mine wasn't.
That one.
Mine honestly wasn't that petty either.
I don't know if I have like a petty one because like the examples here are just like those would make the game worse. I don't want to sit there and be like I liked it. I can't think of a game that I liked when it was worse.
Sure. I'm trying to think of like maybe another petty thing. I don't like when they changed like the healing stuff in Resident Evil from herbs to like something that makes more sense. That's petty. There you go. Because I just like the stupid like you just picked up this plant and ate it sort of stupid thing.
Ate it or like rubbed it on your bullet hole or something.
Right, exactly.
All right, Shane the Destroyer writes, when talking to a frame about some ROM hacks and fan games he likes, I said something along the line of, I'd love to try more of them, but there are so many real games already to get to. And he took offense at the implication that ROM hacks and fan games are lesser, which I understand, but I'm curious, hosts of TDP. Do you see ROM hacks and fan games as any lesser to actual releases? If a ROM hack or fan game catches your eye, does it get the same treatment in your theoretical queue as a normal game?
I think just for the sake of argument, we have to clarify here. ROM hack and fan game can be completely different. So for the argument, for these purposes, We're not talking about a fan game where somebody actually created something from scratch because they're a fan of a game, but they took assets from an existing thing and rearranged them as a fan game, like a ROM hack. Because a ROM hack is literally just like changing Mario things around so that the levels are harder. Where a fan game could be, yeah, I created this game based on Evangelion that didn't exist, and it's like a thing. Like they can be different, but I think what they mean is literally just the somebody modding something, essentially fan game,
Okay.
just
Sure.
for
Okay.
argument's sake. Because a fan game that somebody creates from scratch is definitely not lesser by any means. Otherwise, yes. If you take assets that were created and then just rearrange them, it is implicitly lesser than somebody that creates something from scratch.
Yeah, I don't know if I would think of them as lesser, because when we look at like what the quote unquote normal games are nowadays in 2024,
Mm-hmm.
that is such a broad spectrum of like this was made by one person and it kind of looks like that, or this was made by one person and it looks incredible to like AAA games. So those are like be anything. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess I wouldn't look at these as lesser. I guess the one thing is like because it's not your own work.
That's what
That's
I
the
mean.
one thing I would.
I also think asset flips are lesser. Like, it's the same thing in my mind. If you're taking somebody else's work and just throwing it together, you did less work than somebody that created it. Just straight up. Is it
I think for me, I,
worse?
I
Not
would.
necessarily. Like,
Yeah, I don't think I would look at it as worse. I would kind of follow along with Shane's initial thought of like I'd love to try more of them, but there are so many real games already to get to. Just because I'm like a lot more aware of kind of the release cycle and the marketing and advertising around quote normal games, whereas I don't follow ROM hack scenes or anything like
yeah,
that, so I just don't hear about them in any way. So when I'm putting to when I, theoretically when I'm putting together this like list of like how I'm going to spend my time game wise, it's getting filled up just because of my perspective, like where I'm looking.
sure. I think maybe the lesser thing also isn't necessarily like the core thing here. If I told you, yeah, I'd love to play that, but I have like real games to play or whatever. When I say that statement, what do you think I mean by real or whatever? Like, I think that's the core argument, right? Because he's taking it as a these are like not as good sort of thing, which maybe he shouldn't be, but maybe they aren't like officially made by like a company sort of thing. They're kind of like mods or whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, it's
that.
weird because like some of the things, some of the characters I would think like, is it for sale? Is it on like the Xbox storefront? But
Right.
then, that's not specific because itch is an absolute legitimate storefront, and you'll find tons of these kinds of things, like very small little things on itch.
Yeah.
Um,
And like, let's
so
talk about DayZ for a second. Is that a real game? Because that was just part of Arma. That was a mod. So like, yeah, I don't know. There's this
yeah, or like
weird thing.
original Dota 2 and stuff.
Yeah. So for me, it's, did you do like, is it from scratch that you like the thing was made? Even if it's like a team of 1,000 people all doing one thing to make this collective like triple A, or sorry, quadruple A uh thing, or like one dude in like a basement or whatever, or is it just like a couple people taking the Mario sprite and the sprite for like a shell or whatever and putting it in interesting ways? One doesn't necessarily mean the other is better or worse. It's just one was took like a certain thing that's different. Like, I don't know, the creation or like rearranging or something. I think there is a difference.
I think just with how games have evolved and how widespread that they can be now, this is just another question of like what is art, and art
Yeah,
can be
it is
anything. Like all of these count as a game. Just like how with art, you're not going to be like, well, this is the best art and this is the worst art. Like
right.
no one can kind of make that put that on a scale, right? That just makes and that's going to be subjective to everyone, just like this whole
Totally.
question is that. So yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
it's fun, have fun with the game. Who cares?
I'd love to try more. There are so many real games. I mean, that is kind of just like straight up, that is kind of a weird douchey way to respond just in
Well,
general.
I think it's just kind of like with the history of games and the vocabulary we have, the real
Yeah.
is just kind of sitting in for like traditional because we grew up with like
Yeah.
I buy a game, it's on it. There's a box on the shelf at the GameStop. That is how I play my game, and then like I think it's just like a kind of like a more or like an older way of thinking. Whereas
Yeah.
there's going to be plenty of like young people right now where it's like they're playing complete nonsense on the iPad. And like that's going to be like a thing that they remember cuz like oh I played a shit ton of that cuz that was what I had access to, but maybe it was a complete rip off of something, right? Like who knows?
Yeah. Like in this situation, I don't necessarily think anybody should have taken offense about the or should have had this implication that they're like worse in some way or whatever. I'm just trying to the thing that's interesting to me is there are so many real games. Like what is the subjective real that you mean specifically when you say that? Because I think that is different for everybody. But
Exactly, that's going to be different for everyone. Some people it's going
yeah.
to be like is there a box? Some people are going to be like is it on a storefront? Has it been rated by the ESRB? Like it's going to be different for anyone, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. So that's the interesting part of the
is it
thing.
on a Nintendo system? Because if not, it might as well not even exist.
There's a lot of stuff on Switch right now that probably shouldn't exist. So, yeah, maybe. Phantom Ages rounds it out by saying, "Ahoy TDP crew, what are some games you would recommend to a Nintendo fan who received their first PlayStation console? To narrow down recommendations is the PS4 console. Receive their first PlayStation. I mean, go into their free-to-play area, find something that maybe you've been wanting to try on a decent system. That, like, if you like Fortnite and you were just like, I hate Fortnite on the Switch, maybe you'll like it on this, first of all. Those are free. Check those out.
They still have that like PlayStation Plus collection that
Yeah.
was there when the PS5 launched. Is that
Yeah,
still a thing?
I think so.
Where it was like all of their first party stuff?
Yeah, you should definitely be getting PlayStation Plus anyways because you're going to need it for some online stuff and then you'll get some
Online.
free games. So that's a recommend. Oh, they got rid of the collection
Okay,
apparently.
they got rid of I thought I remember them saying because that was like always like the recommendation. It had
Yeah.
everything. Like, okay. Um The Last of Us is great. Spider-Man's awesome. God of War.
Oh, Phantom Aegis was saying earlier that they like Stellar Blade. If you like Souls likes, you have to play Bloodborne. Like it's the only way to play Bloodborne is on that system. So now you can.
Is Elden Ring on PS4?
I don't know. I would assume so, right? Because maybe it isn't actually.
Ring PS4. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
is.
exists.
Yeah, you could play
Elden Ring is incredible. Yeah, you should play Elden Ring.
You should play Bloodborne first because it's going to be harder to go back after you play Elden Ring, I think. But yes,
I think this person is going from they've been a Nintendo fan, meaning their games have not been like graphical powerhouses ever. Sure, the art's been nice. There's been a lot of color. I think you should just be picking like the best looking, and this is going to be kind of first party a lot of the time,
Yeah.
but like God of War, yeah, Uncharted 4, Horizon, and you should just like finally get to really appreciate what happens when a company puts all the resolution right in your eyeballs.
Yeah. You should also play weird shit that would never be on a Nintendo console, like Until Dawn. Like,
Okay.
just
Sure.
weird stuff like that, I think is okay, here's my recommendations. You should play Until Dawn. You should play Ghost of Tsushima. You should probably,
You should absolutely play Ghost of Tsushima.
if you like more horror-y thing, not horror-y, but like whatever. The Last of Us 1 and 2 is a decent like week.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call those like horror.
No.
Those are just action games.
I don't know. I mean, I would recommend Final Fantasy VII Remake and like
Yeah.
If you like that, go
Yep.
into Rebirth. I still think Remake, I like the pacing of that way
Rebirth
better.
is not on PS4.
You're right, it isn't. So I would do Remake. You probably have to play an Uncharted game because you're a Sony boy now. You're a Sony person now.
I think you should find like whatever the like most recent Need for Speed was, and just get like a really good
Yeah.
looking kart racing game with like some high frame rate.
Definitely God of War 2018. That game's
Yep.
incredible.
Yeah, again, yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you just Google like PlayStation exclusives, most of those will probably be good.
Play Spider-Man.
You should play Spider-Man. Yeah, there's a lot
I
of
think
good
if you
ones.
go first party, it's going to be pretty hard to not get a really good game.
Yeah, I agree. Astrobot.
You can't because you need either the VR headset or you need a
You're
PS5.
right. Yeah, you're right.
You can't do
PS5.
Astrobot.
Bummer.
All right, that's going to do it for questions. If you want to send in questions for next week, Paul will be answering them. Yes, and that's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. Thanks, everyone, for writing in. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Follow my socials if you want to see some fun pictures of Europe.
You threw me off. What's your game of the week?
Yeah, my game of the week.
You threw me off. Holy shit. I just had a panic attack.
Game of the week. I don't know.
Sandland? It has to be Sandland, right?
No, I don't think so.
Bummer.
What's your game of the week?
Steller Blade. Oh, it's so easy.
Okay. Sure, yeah, whatever. I'll give it to Sandland.
What a recommendation.
It's been a weird week because I'm not really playing I haven't been playing a ton.
Fine, I'll give it to this. Fuck, whatever.
Sandland. Yeah.
All right. Yep.
Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you around.
Bye.